Hey, this is Notser, and this is the Tier 6 US Battleship New Mexico. It has 12 main guns, 18 secondary guns, 36 AA guns, a top speed of 21.4 knots, total health 53,200. Modules used: reduce crit chance on main battery, increase AA range, reduce flood and fire chance, faster rudder shift. And for my commander, situational awareness, basic survivability, basic firing training, faster turret traverse, lower chance for fire, and a lower cooldown on damage control. So we're on Hotspot, and there's carriers everywhere. So I have a carrier that I need to go assault on the northeast side. I need to defend my carrier on the southeast side. And I run into this enemy Tier 4 Isokaze, kind of a fail platoon based on what I'm seeing in this game. There's Tier 9s in this game. So a 9 to a 4, yeah, something didn't go right. But we took out the Isokaze. He didn't really need to be in the game anyway. And it looks fantastic, right? We've gotten 3 kills really early in the game. It looks like the enemy aircraft carrier in the northeast wants to assault my friendly aircraft carrier, so I'm moving to intercept with my AA guns. The AA guns are starting to get formidable for the battleship. I run with increased AA range. I think aircraft carriers are too strong currently, and I want to do everything in my power to weaken their power. So I'm always going to run with increased AA range on my cruisers and my battleships. And we do pretty good damage against the Ibuki. 12,000. No Citadel penetrations, but we're able to damage him enough that he has to play a little bit more passively. Now, my friendly is getting harassed. It looks like the enemy aircraft carrier broke off his attack. Maybe he decided to drop when he saw that I was basically moving to intercept. But we can see the enemy aircraft carrier. We just don't have range. We're in a US battleship, and I don't have a fully upgraded range module at the time of this recording. But we're angled, we're firing all AP, and we're trying to do as much damage as we can to the Ibuki, but he's angled just right where it is not penetrating as well as it should. The Ibuki, Tier 9 Japanese cruiser, I don't know the exact armor values, but it's going to be hard for me to have a lot of success against him. He needs to be basically broadside like this New Orleans for me to have a very easy penetration. And we shoot at the waterline and hoping for a Citadel penetration, and of course we straddle the enemy. He's so narrow, it doesn't work. We'll try again. And again, the enemy aircraft carrier sends out squadrons trying. Oh, there we go, we get a Citadel penetration. He sends out squadrons to try and assault my friendly. So I'm trying to assist as much as I can. I don't have defensive fire. I don't have a fighter. All I have is a scout plane. So the best thing I can do is try and stay underneath the enemy aircraft as long as I can. And I'm about, he's not changing direction. I'm going to have to change. So I'm adjusting my heading. He's on fire. He's getting harassed from the southwest side. It's just not working out. Carrier gameplay on Hotspot is just not fun. And right now, carriers are so strong, so what, right? Screw those carriers. But when they start nerfing them, you know, their strike packages, buffing anti-carrier ability to take out the clumped up AoE with 0.4.1, you're going to want to have all the maps to be relatively realistic for every type of class, and I think they're going to have to do something about this map in particular once they see just how ineffective aircraft carriers are. And you could look at these guys. 3 of the enemies are just hanging out at the border. That's another thing they're nerfing. They're making it easier for you to hit targets on the border in 0.4.1. And I'm just trying my best. It's not an easy shot because people can maneuver away or towards. You can see like they're maneuvering and almost burying each other in the ocean. It's awkward and pathetic, but everyone takes advantage of this until it is a disadvantage, right? And we're taking a ton of damage. We've taken damage from the North Carolina Tier 8 US battleship. Probably the first US battleship where you can actually carry the game. You have the speed to get around the map for objectives, and you have the guns to devastate the enemy. Now the New York, the New Mexico have pretty good guns, but they lack the speed. They really fall behind when trying to play the objective game, which seems to be most of the games. I draw way more than I've ever drawn in any other game. I'm up to something like 8% of my games are draws. And that's just unacceptable for me. Now, the Ibuki is the only target left. We have a clear advantage, both in objectives and ships on the map. Unfortunately, I have no way to deal with the enemy North Carolina, and I just want to sail away, try and help take out the Ibuki. Perhaps the North Carolina will choose a different target. That's my only hope. He's faster, stronger, and has more armor. It's just no contest. I would have to catch him with his pants down in order to even have a remote chance against him. And at some point, I'm going, all of these crappy carrier aircraft are spotting me, and we need to take him out. But I also see that there's an enemy cruiser headed towards sea, and it's not good. He still likes me, even though there's a closer cruiser. I'm probably lower health. So, yeah, we're just barely outside of our range. Even if we were in range, this Ibuki is playing the edge like a total cheese ball. Thankfully, 0.4.1 is addressing this interest in using the edge to your advantage. Until that's in, everyone's going to do it, right? I haven't been on the 0.4.1 patch. I have not tested how the mechanics work on the edge, but I just hope that it's a disadvantage to be at the edge. That's what I hope. Now, enemy cruiser is capturing C. I'm figuring that my ally cruiser will be able to take him out, right? I just want to make sure that we can get this guy dead, and all the ships in this area can go assist, right? But the enemy has brought back a little bit. Now we only have one ship up on the enemy. They're capturing C, of course. There's someone at B. I believe they're engaged with another ship. And I don't think it's going to work out for my ally ship because there's a enemy aircraft carrier and there's another ship by B. So B's lost, right? We've got this enemy cruiser and we have the enemy battleship that we need to deal with. And as long as the enemy aircraft are spotting me, I really can't do anything. This North Carolina wants to kill me like a jerk. And the Otago has just killed my ally at sea, so I'm going to try and head to do damage to the Otago. And of course, by doing this, I'm keeping the islands in the way, and there's no more aircraft to spot me, so I'm completely invisible to the enemy. All they know is that there were a couple enemy ships in the northeast. They do not know where they're going right now. And I have one last heal that I'm going to make full use of. It's 3v5. One of my friendlies is pretty low, unfortunately. I believe the Otago has line of sight on the Ranger, so I'm trying to move to intercept and take out the Otago. He's going to have one huge surprise. I have AP loaded, and I'm going to do waterline shots at this enemy Otago. He's not going to like it. I know as my Otago, the last thing I ever want to see is a battleship at close range, which they're also buffing. If you're within something like 4 kilometers of the enemy, your guns will be more accurate than they are currently. Okay, enemy Otago appears, waterline shot, and we get a citadel penetration, but we don't kill him. We do half the remaining hit points he has. Now we need to wait for a reload. Of course, he's going to use his torpedoes. So we're already aware of this. We're going to try and angle for the largest gap in the torpedoes. And our secondaries are going off. Secondaries are okay in this, I would say. And yeah, we're not able to, we're just a little too bulky. But we had damage control, so we used it. And the enemy Otago's dead. The North Carolina has a island in the way. So I'm going to try and run. It looks like the Ranger, yep, the Ranger dies to a fire by the Otago. Very unfortunate. Now we have, 75% health. North Carolina! This is terrifying. He doesn't appear to have the upgraded hull, though. So there is that. So we fire on his position. His guns are pointed north. And we land no damage. The AP was not aimed particularly well, and now the island is in the way, so we are out of this fight. We're going to try and capture C. At the very least, we need to make sure our team wins, right? The New Orleans, no interest in being in range. None at all. One hit away from death. The last time we saw the other battleship, he was somewhere around B, south of B. So, once I capture C, I'm going to head and try and flank the enemy North Carolina. Now, I have a friendly battleship on a collision course. I don't know what his plan was, but he's also in a North Carolina. So, theoretically, he could take him out. I think he has more health than him, and they're basically faced the same way. They're very close. The enemy North Carolina actually has more health, so we need to be very careful. We're going to capture C. Now, the New Mexico, fantastic. I am fully upgraded in this. I'm working on it. It's very fun. I like that the New Mexico starts to feel more like what I'm familiar with, as far as good AA coverage, good guns. It lacks range, but it makes up for that in the accuracy of the guns and just the overall firepower it brings. Now, it has a longer cooldown than the Fuso, so if you want volume of fire, the Fuso at tier 6 is much better, both in range and the ability to fire your guns every 27 seconds versus the New Mexico, which has a 33 or 34 second reload. You really do feel that extended reload. But she's a great ship. She's much better than the Colorado, I'll tell you that. Not looking forward to that. Now, it looks like my friend, he wants to ram. Now, if I were to ram, I would have positioned myself. It's going to be a mutual destruction, so you should have tried to aim for him at the very start. And the enemy North Carolina has no interest in letting him ram, so he misses. He misses the ram. And I could just see in the comments that he has to be pretty bad. He's behind in secondary gun range. The enemy North Carolina basically only needs to land one more shot and he'll take out the friendly North Carolina. And he takes them out. I don't have the kind of health. The New Orleans doesn't have the kind of health. We are very vulnerable to losing this game. So I see he's got his guns facing south. So what I'm going to do is slow down. I don't want to show up until he has committed, because he's greedy. He wants to turn his guns facing the enemy New Orleans, which is one hit away. And once he has committed his guns to face north, then I'm going to show up. And I apologize. This guy questioning my strategy. My strategy was to win the game, not put my ship in a vulnerable position to die to the North Carolina. Now, he's committed. He's aiming north. We're slowly creeping out of the island. We have our guns on target. Waterline shot right at the Citadel. We're still invisible to him, and just now, the rounds are halfway there, and he didn't even know he existed. We take him out. We get a Citadel penetration. We would have easily cleared his health pool plus more. It feels great to be able to perform the exact strategy that you set out to do. Now, the game is basically over. I don't have the speed or the will to go after the enemy battleship. My friendly has no interest in showing up because he only has around 500 hit points. So, the New Mexico, fantastic, tier 6. Even against a tier 9 and 8, it performs relatively well. This is a World of Tanks where you have no chance whatsoever. If you play the game correctly and you exploit your strengths, you will come out on top. That was textbook in how you ambush North Carolina, and honestly, I didn't think it would work out quite as well as it did. He really wanted to kill the New Orleans. It was so low, he couldn't ignore that. He knew someone was taking C, but that's all he knew. He probably didn't figure I would be in that precise place at that precise moment. Fully broadside, his guns pointed the complete opposite direction, and the island was screening my ship until the rounds were basically contacting his hull. Just an amazing situation that rarely comes up. When your strategy works perfectly, it's exciting, right? So, we got a minute 40 left in the game. I'm not interested in dying, not interested in going anywhere near the enemy. We are clearly going to win. I enjoyed this game, not for the kills, but when you're in a low tier ship and you're trying to fight higher tier ships, a lot of the community, or some of the community, that's the first thing they'll complain about. And you need to realize it doesn't mean that you can't win. It doesn't mean you can't have success. It just means you can't play recklessly. You need to be cautious. You need to angle your armor. You need to engage the enemy when they're making a mistake, or they're putting their ship in a vulnerable position. So, with 0.4 on the beta test server, there's 2 new maps. I haven't been able to play them. I'm excited. I play far too many Two Brother maps, and I find Two Brother to be very boring strategically. Most of the teams just want to play Ring Around the Rosie and Zerg each other. I like playing a more variety. I don't like all the games be homogenized into the same strategy. So I like the theory of Hotspot. I just don't like it when there's 4 aircraft carriers and they're just bombarding the other aircraft carriers trying to kill them before they kill themselves. I would rather it be more where you strike a balance of attacking the enemy ships and the aircraft carriers, and you're not spawned so close to the enemy that that's their first target, since they know where you are and you can't escape them. So that was the New Mexico on Hotspot. I particularly enjoyed the North Carolina kill because he wanted to kill me and I got my revenge. So just 2 kills, a couple Citadel penetrations. We were able to get Dreadnought, so we took a lot of damage, and we were able to take out that North Carolina. Over 2k XP, probably because we did damage to higher tier vehicles. 73,000 points of damage. I hope you all have a great day, and I'll catch you next time.